To begin, Adam, the first man. Scripture references used Genesis chapter 2, verses 10 through 14, and the book of Acts chapter 17, verse 26. According to Acts 17:26, by the blood of one man, God has made all nations. But many ask, what color were the first people? The name Adam is often translated as red man. Others believe he was the color of the fertile soil God made him from, black. In a compromise, many believe he probably resembled the dark East Indians whose skin tones ranged from a dark reddish-brown to black. Because of the Garden of Eden's location, climate, and the people's diet, the evidence overwhelmingly suggests that the people who occupied the garden were from a dark race. Adam did not resemble today's traditional white man. He and his family lived in a hot, tropical environment, unlike any other known today. Therefore, it would have been impossible for him to be pale-skinned under such conditions. The Garden of Eden is described as a tropical paradise. Its primary source of water was a river that flowed through the garden and from underground springs. The King James Version of the Bible mentions two countries near the garden, Havilah, which is near Egypt, and Ethiopia, two countries where the oldest fossils of man were found, according to the 1985 November issue of National Geographic magazine. Both Ethiopia and Egypt are considered to be black nations. They often are referred to as the land of Ham or the land of Cush, the father and grandfather of all black nations. According to the Bible, the first rain on earth was recorded after the fall in the Garden of Eden. According to the story of Noah, it took 120 years after Noah began building the ark for rain to fall. In the year of 1656 AM, or 2348 BC, depending on which calendar you're reading. Can you imagine what the people would look like after decades of warm weather? What other color complexion could the people be other than dark-skinned? Science has proven that the dark race is the only race capable of producing people in a variety of colors, as indicated in Acts 17:26. In other words, whites have never been, by themselves, able to produce dark people. Therefore, the scripture, "From one blood came all the nations," could not be referring to the white race. Science has proven that the climate, diet, and environment do affect skin color and other physical characteristics. The Encyclopedia Americana Anthropology section states, "The physical anthropologist thus looks at gross climate factors to which human populations adjusted, variations in heat and cold, high and low humidity, altitude, associated with particular environments as screening devices that have contributed to human diversity through natural selection." Racial differences thus reflect current environments. Each such environment would have its own selective advantage and disadvantage for the physical types, genetically based, living with it. Were the race characters constant in degree or even in kind, the classification of races would be easy, but this is not so. Every division of mankind presents in every characteristic wide deviations from a standard. Thus, the black race, well marked as it may seem at first glance, proves on closer examination to include several shades of complexion and features in some districts, varying far from the accepted Negro type. Innumerable varieties of mankind run into one another by insensible degrees. This state of things, due partly to mixture and crossing of races, and partly to independent variations of types, makes the attempt to arrange the whole human species within exactly bounded divisions an apparently hopeless task. We consider also that race is a social construct. Scientists also know that people who have always lived in these warm lands have medium to dark colored skin, eyes, and hair. For that matter, most human beings are medium to dark colored. These facts led scientists to believe that the first men were probably dark-skinned too.